In the last section, we added some validation around the title field right here. Specifically, we use the title.touched and title.air properties. The source of the title.air property right here came from our validate function, which we defined here at the bottom. We said if the title did not have a value, then we assigned errors.title to be enter username. And this ends up as title.air inside of our title configuration object right here for this particular field. We didn't implement any validation for the other two objects or the other two fields just yet, so let's go ahead and do those right now. In practice, they're going to end up being completely identical to the values.title validation as well. So let's go ahead and just bang them out really quick. So if values.categories doesn't exist, we'll say errors.categories, enter categories. And then if values.content does not exist, errors.content is enter some content, like so. And then we need to make sure that we show the error messages in the form itself. I'm going to go ahead and just copy paste this div, the text help div right here, into the categories and down into the content as well. And then I'll make sure to update the field names on here. So title here is going to become categories.touched and categories.air, and content.touched and content.air. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a shot in the browser. I'll go ahead and refresh, and I can touch, and you can see that I automatically see the validation error on each field right here. In addition, if the form is not valid and I click submit, all the error messages automatically show up and the form is not submitted until I make the form valid. Perfect. So this is behaving basically just how we expect. There's just one more thing. When an input is invalid, we should really show it as red with red text and make sure that the error or the error message right here is highlighted with red text as well. It'll just kind of highlight the error to the user and let them know, hey, you need to take care of something here before we go ahead and can submit your form. Okay, so to do that, we're going to make use of one more little helper here on each of the configuration objects, title, categories, and content. And that little helper is a property called valid. So it's like, title.valid, categories.valid, and content.validated. And this valid flag is just a Boolean true or false that says, hey, is the form valid or not? Yes or no. That's all it does. So we can use that helper to add on a class name onto our form group right here. And so we'll add on a class name that will just help us, it'll use some bootstrap magic to show whether or not the form is currently valid or not. So on this class name right here, I'm going to take off the quotes and we'll instead wrap it in curly braces. And we're going to wrap everything in the curly braces with a template string. And then we'll say if the if the input has been touched and the title is invalid, add the class name has danger, otherwise don't add a class at all. So we're just using a template string here and then a ternary. So we're saying if the title has been touched and the title is invalid, show the class name has danger. Oops, I need to wrap that with quotes like so. Otherwise, just do empty string. Don't use the has danger class name. So let's go ahead and repeat that process on the other two divs. And I'm just going to go ahead to save us some time. I'm just going to copy paste. So I'll copy paste it down to categories and update like so. And then I'll copy paste it down to content and update it to content like so. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot in the browser. And I'll click submit, and everything pops up as red, just to let the user know, hey, you need to take care of this before you can actually submit the form. So if I enter some text, the validation error goes away, and then I should be able to submit the form. Let me grab some lorem ipsum again, and we'll say another new blog post, good posts, and I can successfully submit it. You can see here's my new blog post submitted. Okay, so just one more time. I know this logic right here on this line right here is really messy. If you want to extract it out to a little helper method on the class, totally go for it. You know, it is pretty darn confusing right here. Again, all we're doing is saying if this particular field has been touched and it is not valid, add on the has danger class. And the has danger class is coming from Bootstrap. It's just a helper that will highlight any of the text and the input inside of this div right here as red. Okay, so I think that we're in a pretty good spot here. If the user tries to submit the form, it shows up as invalid, and when we fix it, the validation error goes away. This is perfect. I really like where we're at. Let's look back at our mocks really quick. And let's look at the create form. We're pretty much where we need to be. You know, we've got the title, the submit button at the bottom, but we're still missing the cancel button. So let's take care of that really quick here. The cancel button should just navigate the user back to the index page over here. And so we'll do that by using the React Router link helper again, just like we did with the add post button right here. So back in the code editor at the top, we'll import link from React Router, and then inside of our form we'll add a link next to the existing button. It will take the user back to the index page, and we'll give it a class name of button danger. This will just make the button appear red, so they'll know, hey, like if I leave, I'm going to lose my blog post if I haven't saved it already. And inside, we'll just say cancel. All right, let's save this, refresh, and I've got my cancel here. Let's click it. It takes us back to our list of blog posts. We can go back to the blog post form by clicking add a post. And so this is working perfectly. The only thing that's a little bit weird is the two buttons are very close here. Let's add a little bit of CSS to take care of that. So I've already got a CSS file created here inside of the style directory. So we'll just say form anchor, just add some margin left. We'll just take care of it in a very direct manner. So let's refresh, and perfect. We got our space there, just what we need. Cool. So our create post form is looking very good at this point. We've got our validation, and when a user fixes it, we take care of it, and we could then submit it, or we can just go ahead and cancel and go back to our list of posts here. Just what we want. Let's go ahead and continue in the next section.